Perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for that is the only auspicious path. So, Prabhupada starts the purport with that knowledge and renunciation are never perfect. So, in the previous verse we had read, in that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him. Now here directly Brahma Siddhi, the perfection of self-realization, is spoken about by Lord Kapila. And for that he has mentioned two characteristics for this Brahma Siddhi. One is without devotional service it is not possible. And second, this is the only auspicious path. This auspicious path is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Right. But before that, the Sanskrit word for this auspicious path is Sadrisho Asti Shiva Pantha. Right. Now see the constitution of verse, how the verse is formed. Sadrisho Asti Shiva Pantha Yogi Nam Brahma Siddhe. How it is interpreted by people? By following Shiva Pantha, you get Brahma Siddhi. Right? So, I'll share one instance which happened with me many years back, 14 years back. Once I had been to Sri Rangam with some of my relatives for darshan. So, after taking darshan, we decided to visit the local ISKCON, local temple there. So it was around 10 o'clock, and by the time we visited temple hall was empty. And it appeared there was Bhagavatam asan, mats were kept, mic was there, and we could figure out that class got over and they have left. And there was a blackboard. On that blackboard, with chalk, that day's verse was written. Like we display here, so that was a board on which verse was written. It was written in Tamil. So I could not read, but the verse number was written in English. So there were relatives with me. They happened to be Tamil and Smarth Brahmanas. The verse is from 1st canto, 4th chapter, 12th verse. The verse reads like this. So whoever could read, the elderly person with me, he could read the Tamil text. Shivaya lokasya bhavaya bhutaye ya uttama shloka parayana jana. Immediately I said, see, here it is written that Shiva is supreme. I said, in 1st canto, where it comes? Where in 1st canto, 4th chapter? So I said, no, it is not possible. No, it is written, Shiva lokasya. Everybody should follow Shiva. All the lokas should follow Shiva. And bhutas, see, bhavaya bhutasya. Bhutas also follow Shiva. So I said, no, I will not agree. And those days we had only button phones, so no app, no internet to search, to find out Bhagavatam online. So I immediately called my devotee in Bangalore, contemporary devotee. That, oh, where are you? Our Sampradaya is in there. Then I told him what is the situation. Situation is this, and he's interpreting 1.4.5 like this. So I said, just give me 1 minute. I'm rushing towards my office. I'll open my laptop. I'll read this, and then the translation of the verse is like this. Now you see. Those who are devoted to the cause of the personality of Godhead live only for the welfare, development, and happiness of others. So, Shivaya Lokasya, it's about the discussion is about Parikshit Maharaj. They do not live for any selfish interest. So, even though the emperor Parikshit was free from all attachment to worldly possessions, how could he give up his mortal body which was shelter for others? So, Parikshit Maharaj should have stayed back. Instead of giving up his body, he should have stayed back and done Shivaya Lokasya, auspicious things to people. Why did he leave? So, the point is, those who want to, and then immediately, then it took some time, 5 minutes on call, then he's searching, then he's telling me, then in between somebody else comments. In Tamil, there is a saying that one who differentiates between Shiva and Narayana, who thinks that they're different from each other, his mouth is inauspicious, it should be filled with powder. So, indirectly, that then it was little more this thing. You are standing in Lord Krishna's temple, Lord Krishna's ISKCON. You are reading Lord Krishna's scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, and they are giving you a return interpretation. Then I told him, you read the translation and loudly tell me. Then I told their faces become so small. So same way now here we see Shiva Pantha. Yogi Nam Brahma Siddhi. Now word Brahma is used. Immediately people there who are attached to impersonal Brahman, they take it to the interpretation of impersonal. Because one of the characteristics or one of the features of envying Krishna is following impersonal philosophy. That is very much very nicely explained by Prabhupada in 7th chapter. Envy towards Krishna manifests in impersonalism. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He envies Krishna as Supreme Personality. He cannot accept that Supreme Absolute can be a person. Okay. Pure devotees are not so deluded or contaminated by desire. So, what is their desire and hate? These people, their desire is to become Lord, God, merge. And hate is why there has to be this one person only called Supreme. So, they hate Krishna like that. Ichha, Dvesh, Samudhyana, that's. So, envy towards Krishna manifests in this way. And those who study Vedanta, not in the authorized parampara, but otherwise, they always try to take scriptures, Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, and draw out impersonal meaning. Now, here, the verse under discussion, key word Prabhupada is explaining in the purport is Brahma. Yoginam Brahma Siddhi. Prabhupada translates it as for perfection and self-realization. It's not, Prabhupada not stopping at self-realization, perfection in self-realization. Now, very carefully if we study, in Bhagavad Gita we find three places. In three places, this Brahma word is used by Lord, which does not mean impersonal Brahman, but which means Supreme Absolute Truth, or attaining or realizing the Supreme Absolute Truth. In, just now we are reading 7th chapter. First, there are three different terminologies used. Brahman, liberation in Brahman, correct, and Brahman realization. So, 29th verse, first Lord says in 27th, how it builds up. Lord says, O scion of Bharata Arjuna, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, overcome by dualities of desire and hate. Everybody is filled with their own desires, their own hatred. They are self-centric people. They are focused on their desires and their hatred. What they like, what they don't like. Nobody is bothered about what Krishna likes and what Krishna doesn't like. So, in this delusion, they are born. Self-centered, totally self-centered. Right? Their focus is what I like and what I don't like. My life will be guided by those principles. Next, Krishna says, To come out of it, what has to be done? Devotional service has to be done. You see. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated. Yesham Tantagatam Papam verse is there. And who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. So now Lord says, those who have acted piously in previous lives and whose sinful reactions are burnt, totally destroyed, they engage in my devotional service with determination. So immediately Lord Krishna has introduced devotional service. Now interestingly, the next verse does not match. Apparently. Right? Sanskrit verse is like this. There Lord introduced devotional service has to be done. So if somebody does devotional service, what will happen? He'll go to Krishna Loka. Now how unauthorized people will interpret this? See. Jara marana mokshaya mamashrit yatanti ye te brahma tad vidhu krishnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. Te brahma. Right? They become Brahma. So here what do I understand by Brahma? They get Brahman realization. Now Prabhupada translate is like this. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in my devotional service. Mam ashritya. They are actually Brahman. Then again Brahman has come. Because they entirely know everything about transcendental and fruitive activities. Then how they are Brahman? Why they are not going to Krishna Loka? Why they are limited to Brahman realization or Brahman standard? This Prabhupada explains. Right? Prabhupada explains what is meant by Brahman here. See, very interesting explanation by Prabhupada in purport. Even the less intelligent Brahman realized persons cannot reach the supreme planet of Krishna known as Goloka Vrindavan. Only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness, Mam Ashritya, are actually entitled to be called Brahman. So this Brahman is reserved for devotees. People take this Brahman word from devotional service and interpret as realization of Brahma Jyoti. So here Prabhupada says this Brahman word is reserved for devotees. Its actual utilization, application, its proper application can only be done in context with devotees. Right? Only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness, Mam Ashritya, are actually entitled to be called Brahman because they are actually endeavoring to reach the planet, Krishna planet. Such persons have no misgivings about Krishna and thus they are factually Brahman. So Brahman means, now you come to this verse, today's verse of discussion. Brahma Siddhya means perfection of self-realization. What is perfection of self-realization? I am not this body, I am spirit soul. This is part realization. This is not perfection of realization. Perfection of realization is, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. Next, as spirit soul, I am eternal servant of Krishna. So, Brahma Siddhya means to realize oneself as eternal servant of Krishna and endeavor to go to his planet. Right? So, this is how when we hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita in authorized parampara, our understanding of all these terminologies becomes clearer. Otherwise, people, they are so much expert in word jugglery and it is so evident. It is so evident. One instance I'll tell, I had shared earlier also sometime in the class. There is a verse by Prahlad Maharaj being spoken to Hiranyakashipu. The first word I am forgetting, that is Vanam Gatoyat Harimashreta. Just Sadhumanya Asurvarya Dehinam Sada Samudvigna Dhyam Asad Grahat. Hitvatma Patam Grahamandakupam Vanam Gatoyat Harimashreta. Right? That's how the verse is. So he's saying, Graham Andakupam, you quit this Graham Andakupam and Vanam Gatoyat Harim Ashrayeta. So Prabhupada says one should, translation, Prabhupada says one should go to Vrindavan and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari. So one Krishnasya, very senior Krishnasya, he brought that Bhagavatam book, that canto, opened that verse and says, why Prabhupada interpreted Vanam as Vrindavan? Correct. Why? When it is written Vanam, it should be Vanam only. So I said, which other Vanam will give you Hari Mashraya? There is another Hari. Hari means lion. If you go to Gir forest, you will get another Hari Mashrayata. Nar Hari we say, no, man and lion. Hari means lion. Otherwise, if you want the supreme person to Godhead, Hari. Now, if you interpret why Prabhupada said Hari as supreme Lord, he should have said lion also. Correct. So, what Prahlad Maharaj is intending to say, Vanam Gato, Prabhupada understood. Prabhupada is presenting the core of his heart. He wants us to go to Vrindavan. So, Prabhupada is clearly telling, Hiranyakashipu also did not have doubt. He also is not asking, which Vanam are you saying? You are asking. So, is it not? So, it is very clear. So, what is in the Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta? There is Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam. He is a Mahajan, Prahlad Maharaj is a Mahajan. In his heart, what is the import of Vanam hidden? Prabhupada is pulling out and making us clear. Don't go to Gir forest and take shelter of another Hari. You go to Vrindavan and take shelter of the original Supreme Lord Hari. So, point is, pure devotee knows, right? Pure devotee knows what it means, how it has to be taken. Now another, coming to word Brahman. I said no, there are three places where we see this utilization of Brahman word. This is second chapter, 72nd verse, very famous verse, very familiar to devotees. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. Brahmi Sthiti. Brahmi Sthiti is spiritual. Sthiti means position, situation. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nayanam Prapya Vimuhyati. Sitva Syam Antakale api Brahma Nirvanam Richati. Now there are two words, Brahma Sthiti, Brahmi Sthiti, the Brahma word has come there, and another is Brahma Nirvanam. In that verse we had only one Brahma, 7th chapter. Here there are two Brahma. And both Brahma can be interpreted anyhow. Okay? Because it's very, very non-Krishna specific. Like where Krishna says sometimes Mat Tad Dhama Paramam Mama. So where the Dham word is used means it's very specific. It means Krishna Dham. Tad Dhama Mama. Mama means my Dham, means it has to be an abode. It cannot be effulgence. But here it is just Brahmi Sthiti and Brahma Nirvana. So people argue with this. It is Brahma Nirvana. You get liberated. But where it is written that you attain spiritual kingdom, but Prabhupada says kingdom of God. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life. Okay? Brahmi Sthiti means spiritual and godly life. That is how Prabhupada gives. And have a generic meaning. Jnanis are also on spiritual life. Yogis are also on spiritual life. Right? Bhaktas are also on spiritual life. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Wherever there is shelter of Krishna mentioned in Gita, every place, not bewildered word is also mentioned. Being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. How Brahma Nirvana can be kingdom of God? So, Prabhupada explains, Brahmi Sthiti means, in purport Prabhupada explains, this is the key word, liberation from material bondage. Based on this word, Brahmi Sthiti means liberation from material bondage. Nowhere else you can have eternal liberation from material bondage. So, Brahmi Sthiti means liberation from material bondage. Only in Krishna's abode you will get eternal liberation from material bondage. Otherwise, even from Brahma Jyoti one can fall down. Right? Even from Brahma Jyoti one can fall down. See, Professor, unfortunately, many people have no information of the sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live. And because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyoti. Right? So, Brahmi Sthiti means a place from where you will never fall down into this cycle of birth and death. That is only Krishna's abode. That's why Brahma Nirvana means attaining Krishna's planet, spiritual kingdom. It cannot mean attaining Brahma Jyoti. Then it is not perfection of Brahma Nirvana. So when we hear like this from Prabhupada, it gives us absolute clarity, absolute clarity. Another verse, connected to Brahman, where people misinterpret or argue with devotees. This is 4th chapter. Verse number, very famous verse, which has 6 Brahma in that. That is 24 number. Brahma Brahmarpanam Brahma Havi Brahmagnau Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Okay. Very well familiar verse to devotees. This verse has 6 times Brahma word used in it. Okay. Interestingly, these 6 words have different meanings. Each Brahma has different meaning. First Brahma is, first word Brahma, Prabhupada, word to word meaning, he gives us spiritual nature. First Brahma is spiritual nature. Second Brahma is the supreme. First Brahma in the same verse is spiritual nature. Nature means energy of the Lord. Supreme means the energetic. There is a big difference. Right? So people cannot take it. They bring like this. Sometimes you'll meet somebody who will open this and show how Srila Prabhupada can translate like that. But what Lord wants to say through these words, that Prabhupada captures and presents. Right? This is the conviction we should have. This is the conviction. That's why Krishna is saying in the same chapter, Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you are my friend and devotee, you can understand this rahasya. Rahasyam etad uttamam bhaktosi me sakhacheti. Prabhupada is like that. Prabhupada is in that position, where he can understand what actually Krishna is wanting to say, and for others it is meant to just bewilder them. Let them be happy with their interpretation and go to Brahma Jyoti. Right? So, first Brahma is spiritual nature, second Brahma is the supreme, third Brahma is again spiritual, fourth Brahma is spirit soul, fifth Brahma is spiritual kingdom, spiritual nature, the supreme, spiritual, spirit soul, spiritual kingdom, and the last Brahma is again spiritual. So what all possible meanings of Brahma can be there, all are quoted here by Lord Krishna. Now the translation goes like this. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, right, means one who is in Brahma Karma, Brahma Samadhi. So Brahma Samadhi means Krishna consciousness. That Samadhi means fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. It is not meditation on impersonal Brahman. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain Brahma Gantavyam. What is that Brahma Gantavyam? Attain, Gantavyam means attain, destiny, Gati. Spiritual kingdom, not Brahma Jyoti, because of his full contribution to the spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is also of the same spiritual nature. So, in this way, in authorized parampara, pramanik parampara, we hear. Now, sometimes we had one congregation earlier, long back. He would object to these kind of translations, saying Prabhupada has given translation or meaning based on bhakti point of view. Because he is following the bhakti mark, he is interpreting things from bhakti point of view. Right? So another person is following another path, he can interpret things in another way. Another person is following another path, he will interpret in jnana way, yoga way, any way they can. So like that people question. So what is the answer? What is the answer for that? Prabhupada has given his choice of interpretation. His choice, his liking or his inclination, where his inclination is, he has given that kind of interpretation. Others give this kind of, whatever they are liking, they are following what they are liking and they are following, they are giving their interpretation. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly says goal of life is to come to me, right? And bhaktya mam abhijanati. The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to become a bhakta and know Krishna, go to Krishna. Second, this knowledge Krishna says is only revealed to persons having three characteristics. What are those three characteristics? Arjuna said, Sarvam etad ritam manye yanmam vadasi Keshava. First thing is one has to accept whatever Lord has spoken. In 10th chapter, Arjuna says, Sarvam etad ritam manye yanmam vadasi Keshava. Whatever you have said. Arjuna said, O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Right? First thing is, I totally accept the truth, all that you have told me. Right? This is the first thing. How one should, approach Bhagavad Gita. Second, Krishna says, in 9th chapter, he says, I am revealing to you, idam tu te guhyas tamam pravakshami anasuyave. You are not envious of me. Right? How one understands whether one is envious of Krishna or not? When Krishna glorifies himself, glorifies means he is explaining his opulences. Arjuna says, I am prafullit. Right? I am so delighted, I am so joyful, hearing your opulences, O Lord. But others, oh, Krishna is so egoistic. He is just going on, self-glorification, self-eulogizing. No, actually Krishna can never be egoistic and Krishna can never self-glorify himself. He is just telling the truth. If Prime Minister says, I am Prime Minister, oh, how egoistic he is calling himself Prime Minister. No. If Prime Minister says, I have so much of power in my hand, oh, how egoistic he is. No. Krishna has unlimited power, his unlimited opulences. You can never say he's proud of himself or he's egoistic. Swabhaviki, everything comes to him naturally. But people who want to compete with Krishna, so they envy. So first is Arjuna accepts everything, Arjuna does not envy. Third, Arjuna says, Karishye vachanam tava. He is ready to serve Krishna. These people don't serve Krishna. Prabhupada says it's not armchair philosophy. They just want to rock an armchair and comment on Krishna like this. Oh, Krishna is like this, Krishna is like that. Oh, he said like that. They have not got even fragment of service attitude to Krishna. Right? These people are told by Krishna as avajananti mam mudha manusham tanum ashrita. There are two words, avajananti in this verse. Avajananti mam mudha manusham tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Avajananti and ajananto. Avajananti means avajananti, knowing wrongly. They know Krishna wrongly as a common, ordinary human being. And ajananto means they don't know. They don't know his supreme dominion over all that be. Param bhavam. So because they don't know Krishna is supreme, they wrongly understand Krishna as common human being. And then Krishna gives them a nice gift. Moghasha, Mogha Karmano, Mogha Jnana Vichesa. They are jnanis, they are yogis aspiring for liberation. All of them will fail. All of them will fail. And moreover, Rakshasam Asurim Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Shata. They are Rakshasi Asuri. Now, this verse says, perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what Lord Krishna says, that they're all efforts of jnana, karma, liberation, anything, yoga, everything will be baffled because they are not engaging in devotional service. Right? So only under bona fide spiritual master we can understand these things properly and engage in Krishna's service properly. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai.